Welcome, my name is Peter Gordon for Planetizen courses. I'm Professor Emeritus, University of Southern California, where I've been teaching economic thinking for planners for many years. So the point of this course is to ask the question, what does economic thinking have to contribute to the things that planners worry about in their everyday experience? Now, there's 6 courses in this series. The first one, Introduction Overview, goes over the basics. The basics have a lot to do with scarcity and what do we do in the face of scarcity. Scarcity is a fundamental reality in our lives. That means nothing but trade-offs. Nothing but trade-offs means we have to be thinking very carefully of the choices that we make. We do it in our private lives very easily, but how does this inform the people who are dealing not just with their private lives, but who are interested in policies and programs and plans? The second course is about really the central message of economic thinking, and that is that what are the gains from trade? What are the gains from trade in terms of specialization? How do we decide what to specialize in? If we are specialized, how does that help the rest of the world? Everything that we use, everything that we purchase has a supply chain behind it. All supply chains are many specialists working together quite spontaneously, even if they are strangers. They decide what to do, what their role is in the supply chain by looking at the signals they get from markets. The most important signals that they get from markets are prices. That brings us to Course 3. Course 3 is all about supply and demand, which everybody has heard about. Supply and demand give us the prices, which are the essential signals that tell us what to do in terms of how to allocate our time, our effort, and what to purchase and what not to purchase. The essential centrality of that sequence cannot be overestimated. We're going to talk about economics and the environment. Many of us are interested in the environment. The question is, what does economic thinking have to contribute to our worries about, to our concerns about the environment? We'll see that economic thinking and the environment are quite different from the standard environmentalism that we talk about so much. Then in course number 5, we're going to apply that to cities. We're going to talk about cities and externalities and governance. Cities are where we refer to cities as the engines of growth. But what does that mean? It means that so much of the supply chains that we've discussed occur in cities, and therefore each of us are buyers and sellers. As buyers and sellers, we participate in supply chains. The essential question is, how much of the supply chain is local, how much is not local? The local part of the supply chain is the city. Many of us who've thought about cities so much do not think about it that way, but that's precisely what's going on. So, all of our consumption, all of our production is part of supply chain analysis, but supply chains have a spatial dimension. How much is local, how much is not local? Once we answer that, we can explain a lot about why there are cities. When we talk about cities, we have to talk about governance and the rules of the game. In Course 6, we're going to talk about local government and governance. Now, let me stress governance, not just government, because the rules come from many sources. The rules come from different levels of government. They come from neighborhood associations. They come from business improvement districts. They also come from the culture. Much of what we do comes from the culture. Much of what we decide to do or not to do are the norms that we inherit from the culture that we live in. So there are laws and there's legislation. Legislation comes from the legislature or the city council. Laws is a bigger topic because it comes from the rules that we decide as part of our culture to live by. So, thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening. Let's get started and let's see what is in store for us.